The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is titled Building VCP with BNI Connect. It's also subtitled Managing Your Profile in BNI Connect, because that's really where VCP comes from in BNI Connect, is making sure that you're putting your best foot and your best face forward when it comes to people viewing you and seeing your information both on the public side of BNI Connect as well as on the inside, the member-only portion of BNI Connect. So what we're going to be going over today is where these things are viewed, how people do find you, and what they see when they find you, as well as some best practices for putting this information into BNI Connect. This webinar today is being recorded. We have about 30 minutes of scheduled content, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. I am always happy to stay on these webinars until all of your questions are answered. The recording, once it is done, will be made available in two places. The first place is if you're logged into BNI Connect, click on the little question mark button here in the upper right-hand corner, and that will take you to our support site. You can also go directly to support.bniconnect.com. Down at the bottom of the screen, there is a training section. You'll notice that the webinars are broken out month by month, so you can look at the webinars for May, and this one will be uploaded alongside these other webinars, probably in a couple of days or so. You can also find them all on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And you can find the webinars here. There's webinars on all sorts of topics. So please give it a look there. So let's talk about VCP and BNI Connect a little bit. So one thing that you may or may not know is that you actually show up on two different places within BNI Connect. One of those places is in this member-only section. That's where I am now. I'm logged into BNI Connect. And if you click on the profile link in the bottom part of your screen, you can see what your profile looks like to other BNI members that are searching for you inside BNI Connect. You can see that it has my information on it. There's a number of tabs here that display more information. But there's also a public profile that anybody on the internet can find and view. And they can be BNI members. They could be past BNI members that are no longer in a chapter but would like to use a BNI person for services. They could also be just people in the general public. Maybe they know about BNI and they're searching your regional website to find somebody to refer business to or to use for their own services. Could be people just doing a Google search. Now, those profiles are on the regional websites. Now, let me tell you a little story. I was sitting here in my office, probably about 3 months ago, and a client of mine walked into my office. And I'm a BNI member. I've been a member here in the Rhode Island area for about 11 years now. They walked into my office and said, "Hey, I need a referral." I said, "That's great, because how often does that happen? Referral just walks into your office and falls in your lap." So what I did was I wanted to use BNI Connect to pass this referral, to pass this information over to my client. So what I did was I went to our regional website, and I'm actually going to use one of our test sites here so I don't throw anybody under the bus. And I went to find a member. And I put in the member's name, and I pulled up their profile. Now, what I really wanted to do was to print this page out and hand it over to my client so that they could have more information than just a business card would have. Unfortunately, what you're seeing on the screen is essentially what I pulled up for this member's profile. And this is happening on a daily basis. People are going to the regional websites, they are looking for members, and they're coming up with, for the most part, empty profiles. Sometimes there's not even a phone number here for them to get in touch with people. Now, in contrast, if somebody had pulled up my profile on BNI Connect, I'm going to go to my real regional website, which is bniri.com, and I go to Find a Member, and I put myself in. This is the profile that they'll find for me, and you can see it has a lot more information than that other profile had. It has my headshot. It has my phone number, my mobile phone number, my website link. They can go right over to my own personal website, my address information, all of my social media links, So they can jump right over to Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter and follow me on those sites. They have some information about my business, my logo, what chapter I'm in, my ideal referrals, top products. This is a credibility builder right here. So you do want to be diligent about filling out your information on the BNI Connect site so that when people do find you, and people are searching every day, that you are building up that credibility with them right away. So today we're going to concentrate on where do you find all this information, how do you fill it out, and where does it show up. So I'm going to go back to my home screen, and again, this is the inside profile on BNI Connect. So you can see it has some of the same information, but it has a lot more information that's accessible to other BNI members. So we can see here that it has, still my business description. It shows all the roles that I have in BNI. It does have my logo. It has a couple of extra phone numbers that weren't on the public site. It does list my email address here if I choose to display that. It does have all my social media links and my address. But here's where there's more information than on the regional website. There's a bio tab that has my 60-second presentations. It has my games profile. It has my tops profile. It also has a list of all of my connections, so all the people that I'm connected with in BNI. It has testimonials, so testimonials that I've received from other chapter members or other members within BNI are all displayed on my members-only profile, so we can see those all here. It also has a photo sharing gallery, so you can share photos, and this is also a great place to share testimonials from your clients. They can also see which groups that I'm participating in or that I'm administering, as well as my training history. So where does all this information come from? How do you get it in there? Well, the place to do that from just about any screen in BNI Connect, you can click on the My Account button in the upper right-hand corner. When we click on the My Account button, this will take us to our profile where we can make all of these changes. You'll notice that the information is broken into tabs, each with about a page worth of information on it. So we have the main profile tab. The second tab is the user profile. The third tab is all of your contact details. The fourth tab is all of your account settings, so really your permissions. The fifth tab is your bio. And the final tab is your training history. So let's just go through these tabs and see what information is on each of them. So the first tab lists your name, your company name. Verify that information is correct. It also has what's called a VAT reference number. Now, if you're here on the call from the United States, we can safely ignore that. VAT stands for Value Added Tax, and this really is a European term. It's the equivalent of our sales tax here, and in some countries they do need to record their sales tax ID or their VAT reference number on their profiles. But we can safely ignore that here in the United States. The next two things it lists are your industry and your classification. Now, the industry and the classification, you cannot change that directly. If you see that that isn't exactly what you do or what you'd like to be listed as, please contact your chapter director consultant, your executive director. They will be able to make those changes in your profile to make sure that it is what it should be. It shows your membership status and what chapter you're currently in. Now, the next two fields you do have some control over. And the first one is the My Business Description. Now, what is the My Business Description? The My Business Description is, I like to look at it as your elevator pitch. So if you think about going to a networking event or even the open networking at your weekly chapter meeting and you meet somebody that you've never met before. This is really how do you explain your business in 30 seconds or less in a paragraph or so. Explain to them what you do in your business and what you concentrate on. That is the My Business Description. Now, this is an important one because this is going to show up, again, on your member-to-member profile, your inside BNI Connect profile. But this also shows up here on my public profile. So this is on the Internet for anybody to see. So take a few minutes to enter your My Business description. And it's what's appearing in this gray box that's right here. Now, the next thing that's listed here is the keywords. Now, keywords are important because that's how people find you when they don't know your name. So it's really easy to find somebody in BNI Connect, or generally speaking, if you know their exact name. They'll show up in all the searches. They'll show up in Google. They'll show up in the regional website, and they'll show up in BNI Connect if you have their name. But when they don't have your name, that's when it gets difficult. So think about all the things that you want to be found for. And one thing to keep in mind is that this is it's a word-for-word specific search. So for example, if you're an accountant, you may want to have accountant as well as the word accounting, because if they do a search for accounting, it's not going to find accountant. Vice versa, if they do a search for accountant, it's not going to find accounting. So do think about permutations of words or variations on what it is that you do that you would like to be found for in BNI Connect. Now, the second tab is your user profile. Your user profile has to really do with your account mostly. You can change your username if you'd like to. Just click on the Change Username button. You can enter a new username in for yourself. As long as it's not taken somewhere by somebody else in BNI Connect, then you are welcome to use it. The only limitation really is that it can't have any spaces in it. But other than that, you are welcome to create your own username. I personally recommend that you do not use an email address, simply because email addresses tend to change fairly frequently. So it's usually better to have some type of a username. You can also change your password if you'd like to. Now, the next two things are the memorable question and answer. And what these are used for is if you need to reset your password. So let me just pull up another screen here. And you'll notice that my memorable question is daughter's nickname, and my answer is Libby. If I forget my username and password and I can't log into BNI Connect, I can always click on the Lost Username or Password link down here at the bottom. And what this is going to do is give you a challenge question and answer. So you just need to put in your email address that's on your profile. And this is also where your password reset email will go to. Now, I do need to hit Tab or click down in the answer box, and you'll see that my memorable question will show up. And it has my question in there. So I need to be able to answer this question correctly. If I do, it will send me my email with a new password. Keep in mind that the answer is case sensitive. So if you recall, my question and answer was Livy, which is L-I-V-Y, but that is different than lowercase L-I-V-Y, which is also different than L-I-V-Y. Those are all different answers. So you do have to make sure that you make this case sensitive. It's also space sensitive. So if you put in the street that you were born on or something like that, make sure that if you have the answer street, that you have street typed out, or whether you put in ST period or just ST. You can also choose which language you would like BNI Connect to appear in. BNI Connect is available in about 40 different languages. One thing to keep in mind is you'll notice that there's about a dozen different English languages. And this not only controls the words in BNI Connect, but it also controls the date format. So for example, when we do the shorthand date here in the United States, we always do it by month, day, year. For example, today's date would be 5/9/2013. Well, in most European countries, they have the day first. So if you see dates in BNI Connect and you're looking and it says 9/5/2013 and it's really May and you're confused by that, make sure you go back to your language settings and choose the United States version of English. This is where you can also update your profile image and your company logo. To update your logo or your image, just click on the Change Company Logo or Change Profile Picture buttons. This will bring you to a screen where you can click on the magnifying glass to go and search for a new logo. So I can click on that. It's going to browse your computer. So I just need to look in my computer for a new photo. So I'm going to go to my logos file here. And let's say that I'd like to upload a new logo. So I'm going to upload this logo. I can crop it if I'd like to, or I can just leave it at that size and click Save. And now this new logo will appear on my profile. Now the third tab is the Contact Details tab. And this one's pretty straightforward. You just need to fill out all of your contact information. So this has to do with the phone number, direct number, home number, mobile number, pager number, voicemail number, toll-free number, carrier pigeon number, smoke signal number, all of those different ways in which people will try to ring you up. It also has your email address. Now this email address is important. It does need to be unique. It is another unique identifier in the database. But also this is where all of your BNI Connect communications will go to. So your things like your renewal reminder, things like if you register for an event in BNI Connect, that's where your registration reminder will go to, as well as your successful registration email. It's also where if your BNI office or your director consultant or even other members from your chapter need to get in touch with you, this is the email address that all of those communications will go to. So do make sure it is a valid email address and that it is correct. Your website address goes in there. Do just verify that it has an http:// in front of it. It should automatically enter it in for you if you're putting it in for the first time. But if the http:// is not in there, then the links on some of the sites will not work properly. The next thing you can put in are all of your social media links. There are about a dozen different links to choose from Facebook to Academy to blogs and YouTube, Pinterest. You can put all of those in there. The final section on this page is your address information. And you'll notice the address is broken into two different sections. The first address is your public address. So this is the address that you want to show to the rest of the world, the BNI community, as well as on the regional websites, so to the general public. Keep in mind that this will be displayed on the public website. So if you work from home, you may want to not have that on the public website. My recommendation is this top address, put something in like private or by appointment only. And that will allow you to keep your physical anonymity while still displaying the rest of your contact details on the regional websites. The bottom address down here is the billing address. This is kept private at all times. So only your regional office will have access to this information so that they can send you physical mail if they need to, but it will not be displayed anywhere publicly. I'm going to skip over the next tab and come back to that in just 1 minute. The next tab on here is the Bio tab, and here's where you need to spend a little bit more time. The Bio tab has all of your credibility building information. The first section here is the bio, and this is the same bio that you would fill out before your 10-minute presentation at your chapter meeting. It has your years in business, your previous types of jobs, your spouse, children, pets, hobbies and interests, city of residence, years in that city, burning desire, something no one knows about you, and your key to success. Why is it good to put this in here? Well, I'm sure it's never happened to you, but I've seen on occasion members scrambling to fill out a piece of paper before their 10-minute presentation. By keeping this in BNI Connect, you can kind of set it and forget it. It's also great because other members of your chapter can pull up a report, and I'll show you that report in just a few minutes, and get this information for you before a one-to-one. The next section is for the commercials. And why would it be a good idea to put commercials in BNI Connect? Well, one of the reasons for this is that it displays on your member-to-member profile. So if you recall, I can click on this profile link at the bottom of the screen. And if I go to my BNI Connect profile and I go to my Bio tab, you'll notice that my 60-second presentations display on that tab. As people connect with you in BNI Connect, they may read these. There are 150,000 members in BNI right now, currently, as of May 9th, 2013. I can guarantee you that 149,950 of them will never come to your chapter meeting in order to hear you give a 60-second presentation. Why not give yourself a little boost of visibility and credibility by sharing those 60-second presentations with people that can read them on your profile? One other benefit to doing this is, again, I'm sure this has never happened to you, but you realize about 10 o'clock the night before your meeting that you're not going to make it to your meeting the next morning. Now, you're able to call in a quick favor, call up one of your clients or a good friend or a business associate and say, hey, I'm not going to make it to my chapter meeting the next morning. Would you mind substituting for me? Now, maybe you're nowhere near a computer or you just don't have time to write out a 60-second. If they're a BNI member, you can always send them to your profile and say, hey, I have a couple of 60 seconds on my BNI profile. Can you just grab one of those and read that at the meeting tomorrow? If they're not a BNI member, maybe you can call in a favor from one of your other chapter members to say, hey, can you print out one of my 60 seconds and bring that for my sub tomorrow? Now, because this is a long form, just like with a long Word document, I highly recommend that every once in a while you click this Update button at the bottom of the screen. You notice Saved will flash underneath for just about a second. There is a 35-minute timeout on BNI Connect, so if you do start filling out this information and then maybe you take a phone call or you walk away or go have some dinner or a snack and you come back more than 35 minutes later, it will log you out of BNI Connect. So in order to make sure that you save all that hard work, do make sure that you click this Update button every once in a while as you're filling out all of this information. So the next setting here is the gains profile. And thinking back to your member success program, this is the same gains profile that you use at member success. And that is goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. Now, thinking back to that member success program, one of the things that we were taught is that it's a best practice to do a gains exchange before each one-to-one meeting that you have. If you recall, a gains exchange is where if I'm doing a one-to-one with you, I will send you my gains profile, and you will send me your gains profile. That way we get to learn a little bit more about each other before we sit down to talk. Oftentimes that will speed that credibility process up so that you can build credibility faster. It will also open up areas of conversation that you may never have thought of before, because there's a lot of things that don't generally come up in a one-to-one conversation, like accomplishments or like maybe goals. Those are great ways to expand the conversation before a meeting. And people can do that gains profile just by the gains exchange just by clicking on your profile and reading about you. And finally, we have the TOPS profile. And the TOPS is the ideal referral, your top product, top problem solved, favorite BNI story, and your ideal referral partner. If you have limited time, I would recommend doing this TOPS profile first. Now, the reason for that is that if you recall, on the public side, so this is on your regional website, this information here, the ideal referral, top product, top problem solved, all of this is your TOPS profile. So if you do have limited time, fill that one out first because you have greater visibility with the whole internet than on the inside of BNI Connect. But definitely come back and fill out the rest of it as well. So just to review, the things that appear on the public internet side that you should concentrate on first, your picture, your logo, your contact details and social media links, the My Business description from that first page of your profile, your keywords so that you're found, and the tops profile. Now, the remaining tabs on your profile, you have your training history. Now, the training history is not something that you can edit directly. This will be automatically populated if your region is using the event calendar and registration process within BNI Connect. After you attend a training and you're marked as having attended, this will be updated automatically. If you do look at this and you see things that are missing, don't panic. Just give your regional office a call, and they can manually add trainings in, especially if they're using some other form of event registration. So let me jump back now to the account settings. And this is where you control who sees what on your profile. So you notice it's broken into a couple of different parts. The top two section here is the member-to-member and the BNI public websites. Those are the two places that you're highly visible. Now, for the member-to-member, again, that's this inside profile. So the member-only profile, when people find you using the magnifying glass, that's what you're going to display to other people. So you can choose to either show these different sections to everybody, so anybody that finds you, to just your connections, so only after they've connected with you, or to nobody at all. And those sections can be the Bio tab, the My Connections tab. You can either choose to show or hide that whole tab. Same thing for the My Testimonials and the My Picture Gallery tab. You can choose to show or hide your email address, and you can choose to show or hide your contact details. The second section is about the public website, and again, that's this public set of information. Now, you can opt out completely, if you'd like to, from the BNI public websites. If you uncheck this box, people will not find you even if they are searching directly by your name on the regional website. You will be invisible on the regional website. You can allow people to email you from the public website. Now, on the public side, keep in mind your email address will never be displayed. You will notice that there's this send message link available on the public profile. What this does is if somebody from the public or another BNI member or whoever goes to your profile, clicks on the send message, they can send you a regular email. This will go to the email address that's listed in your account. So it will be delivered to your inbox. It is protected by a CAPTCHA, so robots shouldn't be able to send you repeated messages, shouldn't be subject to spam in that fashion. But again, it is a real email. But you can choose to opt out of that if you'd like to. If you have that option unchecked, it will hide this send message button and make it unavailable. And finally, you can choose to show or hide your contact details. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this is all of your contact details. So notice now it's showing my name, my phone number, my website, my physical address. If I choose to hide that, and I'm going to click Update down here, I'm going to refresh the page, and you'll notice that a lot of my information goes away. So it's hiding also my phone numbers and my website. That may be a little bit too much information to hide. So again, my recommendation is to leave this checked if you'd like to have some visibility. And if you are working from home, to put something in for your address as by appointment only or private. Now, the next couple of sections have to do with the social media components and how you're communicated with for the social media components of BNI Connect. There's a group function in BNI Connect where we can have discussions with other BNI members around the world, very similar to the LinkedIn groups. You can choose to be notified once you join a group. You can be notified every single time there's activity in that group. You can get a once per day an email for each of the groups that you're participating in that have a new message that day. You can choose a once per week or choose to opt out of emails completely. If you are managing a group or created a group, I do highly recommend that to remain participatory. you choose the top option. The final section down below has to do with how you're notified for the social media components. You can choose to receive a message to your regular email address for BNI Connect messages. So we do have an internal messaging system, but you can get those messages as well as your sent messages for those sent to your personal email. You can also get your connection requests sent to your email, your recommendation requests, and you can also choose to opt out of optional emails from your regional office. So we are at the bottom of the hour. I would like to thank everybody for their time today. Again, this entire session and the upcoming questions, if there are any, are being recorded. They will be made available on our YouTube channel. As a reminder, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. You'll also be able to find these recordings at support.bniconnect.com or by clicking on the question mark within BNI Connect, and you scroll down to the trainings and the webinars section. If you have a moment, please also go to facebook.com/BNI Connect Global and give us a like. We do a lot of webinar reminders, tips and tricks, and upgrade announcements and things like that, all up here on our BNI Connect Global Facebook site. So I would like to open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions at all about either this functionality or anything in BNI Connect? I'd be happy to answer those questions at this time. Excellent. If we don't have any questions, again, I'd like to thank everybody for their time today. Check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, as well as our support site. If you found that this webinar was useful, please do let your chapter members know. A good referral for me is to please pass along the information about these webinars to your fellow members, to your regions, and to your directors. Thanks again for being here today. Have a wonderful weekend, and happy connecting, everyone. Hope to speak with you soon.